Hello, she's Trixie, and I'm Sarah, and this is our Yarn World, a place where we come to share the love of yarn crafts and the joy it gives our lives, and we hope to share that joy with you. We're coming to you on episode 21, and on a very miserably hot day.
Yes.
So,
hence the hair.
Yeah. Her hair's gone frizzy, and I just took a shower, so my hair is beyond desirable. So just please bear in mind with that, because there's just no hope.
It's like high 80s, almost 90s here in Muskegon, Michigan, and we are...
It's 90s in other places, like North Muskegon, it's already 90.
Yeah, it's hot and muggy.
Yeah.
If it was a dry heat, that would be different, but we are in a muggy state, and so that's why we look the way we do.
So we suggest getting something nice and cold to drink. My mom has water. I have some Bag O.
And I have a little bit of lemon and lime in my water so that I can have that refreshment while I'm doing trying to get some of this water weight to go down. And she's drinking lemon lime also.
Just Bag O.
Yeah. So today we're doing Tag Your It, a yarn tag started by Bag O Day Crochet. We're a little late to the game, but we're still going to do this because it's exciting. We like doing this kind of stuff. So the first question is, what is your favorite color of yarn? And I'd have to say mine is more like an ombre, a variegated, mandala. I do like solids, but I love color changes, so those are my favorites.
Do you have a favorite with color change, or is it just the color change makes it exciting?
The color change makes it exciting for me. It makes the project more exciting to do.
Well, mine's probably going to be very bland because I like foundation colors, so because of what I do the most, I like colors probably like earth tones, so it'd probably be black, white, blue, khaki brown, maybe, I can't say red because I don't work with red a lot, but gray. I like foundation colors, so yeah, black, white, gray, blue, brown, khaki. Yeah, those are probably my favorite to work with.
Yeah, that sounds good.
When I'm starting that, I know I'm starting something I'm going to love to do.
Yeah. What is your favorite weight of yarn? I like 4-ply.
Yeah, worsted weight.
Yep.
4-ply worsted.
What is your favorite style of yarn? Style. Would that be the worsted weight, or is that more like working with the mandalas? Either way, I like those.
What is your favorite style? I don't know.
Or maybe is no. I would think using the mandala, or because the next one is, what is your favorite fiber of yarn? So it wouldn't be that. So
I know that some yarns,
some of them have a different kind of twist to them.
Yeah, I don't know. Because, it's just like what you're saying, all different types of yarns have different, fibers, different blends, different mixtures, makeups,
color schemes,
recipes.
Yeah.
And whether they're hand dyed, not dyed, whatever that all is. I don't really know what this question is actually trying to ask.
But maybe for that even. I like the manufactured kind. I have never really used hand crafted yarns, so I like the stuff you can get in the store.
Excuse me, I don't really know what this question is specifically asking. I would say that my style of yarn would just be my 4-ply, my acrylic, my it's my crafting yarn.
Yeah.
So, we're just gonna move on to the next question.
Yeah. What is your favorite fiber of yarn? I like the acrylics.
I would say acrylic. It's not that I don't like cotton, and it's not that I don't like, wool or any of that, but based on what I do the most, acrylic is what I use the most.
Me
it's
too.
what I am accustomed to. I have used ones that are velvet. I've used blanket yarns. I've used cotton and wool before. It's not that I don't like them, but they're meant for other things, and because I'm more into making three-dimensional stuff, I need something that is going to be able to be washed, going to be able to be durable, going to be allergenic, so it's just what I use the most.
What is your favorite brand of yarn that you can get easily within your country? I like Lion brand yarn. I think that's my most preferred that I go for at the store.
I love Lion brand. I'm not saying that they're not great, because I do love them, but it would be wrong of me to not say Karen yarn or Red Heart.
Yeah.
And the 1-pounders.
Yeah.
Both of them have
both
one.
of those too.
These are my go-tos. I go there first, more than anything else. That's the place I go the most. Second to them would be Lion brand.
Yeah. What is your favorite brand of yarn that isn't easy to get within your country? I don't know. I've never bought anything out of the country.
I have seen hand dyers that are native in the UK or in those islands around there, like I really shouldn't say islands, but in that general region of the world where it's like Ireland, Scotland, where it is more traditional, more cultural to spin your own yarn and to dye it, and it's a well-known means of income. I do know some brands. I can't think of them off the top of my head. We started, and I was supposed to have written all my answers down, but I was gone this weekend, and so I didn't think to get it done. But there are places in Europe that I do know I would want to buy from to support the businesses, to support what they do. And I know that we have I know the question is uneasily accessible, but I know that we have a yarn shop that spins, I do believe, their own yarn in town. I just haven't gone there yet.
Yeah.
But I don't know if COVID has kind of put them out of business.
Yeah, I don't know.
So I'm not sure, but I would like to support more businesses, and the most popular businesses I know that spin their own yarn are in Europe. So that would probably be my answer. I know I'm very vague. I'm sorry.
A favorite yarn store online and a favorite brick and mortar. So online, I guess the only thing I do online is Amazon. So, and then my favorite brick and mortar would be Joann's.
I know that there are places that you can buy online that are just specific to yarn.
Yeah. And
I don't know them very well. Mine have always been Joann's, Red Heart, or Amazon.
Right. Do you keep...
And brick and mortar probably would be Joann's or Michael's.
Right.
Or Hobby Lobby.
Or
in Hobby Lobby probably would be online too, depending on what I'm looking for.
Sure.
Just saying.
Yeah. Do you keep scrap yarn? If so, what do you do with it?
I do.
Yes. And I make scrappy blankets out of them. Scrappy Afghans.
I always keep scraps. Either I'm passing them on to my mom, or when I use them for detail work.
Yeah.
Or I use them for stuffing.
Or we exchange.
Yeah.
We barter a lot with our yarn. What is your favorite thing to crochet? Afghans, blankets. Yes.
Amigurumis.
Yeah.
I like creating
characters.
I like creating really odd dimensions. So like randomly. I'll
Like
make it
yeah.
my pyramid pillow.
Yeah.
I like making pillows probably as much as I like making amigurumis.
Yeah.
It's within that creative liberty. I would like to say that I would want to create clothes. I can create clothes, but I find more liberty and joy out of amigurumi or this. So if I would say that that's my favorite thing to do.
And number 10. If you could crochet one last thing for the rest of your life, what would it be and what yarn would you use? Afghans and any kind of ombre, variegated, acrylic 4-ply yarn.
I hope that this goes into the same line, but I would make amigurumis and home decor items. So it would be wall hangings, it would be pillows, it would be, but at the same time amigurumis. So I don't really know if there's a category just for making objects, but I would be crocheting objects, characters or household objects for the rest of my life, and I'd be so satisfied.
And what yarn would you use?
Worsted weight or 4-ply acrylic. It's the most durable and it's the most washable.
Yeah.
And it's the most easily available to me. So yes.
That would be it. So that is the questions. And now we will go to our scripture verse, which is, "But if we hope for what we do not see, we eagerly wait for it with perseverance." And it's found in Romans 8:25. I have always found that if you're hoping for something, if you're waiting for something, you have the perseverance anyway. You're waiting to get your projects done. You're waiting to get that yarn that you've been expecting. That's one thing. I did buy some yarn. It is Lion brand. It's ice cream yarn. And it's all kinds of beautiful colors. And I think I'm going to make an Afghan for someone special in my life. And I got 4 of these. And I'm hoping it'll be a nice lapgan. And it was, I like using yarn that I found at thrift stores too, which is, this is one of them, and it just happened to be Mary Maxim, and so and it's a nice 4-ply, very pretty color. I love the coloring on it, but I tend to buy a lot of yarn at the thrift stores, and they become beautiful projects that I can make. So, but if we're back to the scripture, but if we hope for what we do not see, we're hoping for those things that like when we're making our projects and whatever, we're hoping that they turn out well, and we eagerly wait for it with perseverance. We're waiting for those things to come into our lives, and we're waiting for them with the perseverance that only God can provide. And hope is always a good thing to have in your life. It's especially good right now when things seem almost never ending. The pandemic goes on for so long and everything, and it just seems never ending, but hope is a good thing to have. And so whether you're hoping and doing things with yarn or other crafts that you're making with your hands, you can always persevere when you have hope.
A life without hope is really nothing.
It's depressing.
Without having something to strive for or believe for,
or look forward
to wish for, to not have that drive To not have that, you know, if I get through today, I'm one step closer to something you're believing in, something that you're expecting, something that you're wishing for. You know, another verse I would say that would apply to this is that even though you have perseverance to wait for it,
Yeah.
faith without works is dead.
Yeah.
So I don't know where that verse is located, but I want to say
We'll find it.
I think it's in Romans as well. But it's this whole, I bet you it's Hebrews actually.
Yeah.
But faith, things hoped for, things unseen. We have to work for our miracles sometimes.
Yeah.
And it's hard because miracles, when we were kids, we're told that would just happen.
Yeah.
And the reality is there's something that we have to fight for sometimes.
God does his part and we do ours.
And there is an aspect of having to work for and get through and do and be and have. And when it comes to things like making it through, it almost is you wouldn't want to live your whole life hoping for something and give up right when it was time. You know, it's the whole, it reminds me of Moses.
Yeah.
Moses fought so hard for the promised land. He wasn't able to receive the promised land, but God gave him at least the ability to see it before he died.
Yeah.
And
he walked with those people for 40 years.
And part of the reason that they couldn't get past it and they had to wait for the next generation to come out of it was because of the trauma that they had went through. They couldn't get out of the mindset that they were able to overcome, that they were capable of getting the land when they had the ability to. So God had to wait until the next generation was able to think and do and know and believe in their birthright.
Yeah.
And to being able to fight for it. But Moses had to live a whole second worth of his lifetime just to miss it.
Yeah.
And I would not want to be so caught up with wanting something so badly that by the time I'm right there, I almost lose sight of the fact that I'm right there.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't want to get so far as to miss my breakthrough.
Yeah, and don't give up.
It's hard to have perseverance. It's hard to want to strive. I know this is going to be a really weird, you almost, and I know this is going to be a little bit of a weird way of putting it, but sometimes you have to be petty.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. What I'm saying is you have to have the willpower to want to see your miracle.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to get into a set of attitude of, no, I am not leaving without seeing it. No, I am not going to stop without it. I'm not going to, and it might take years, but you're going to keep at it, keep professing. And there's something about almost having this attitude of, nope, I ain't leaving until I see it. I'm not leaving until I see it. I'm not leaving until I see it. And I'm going to believe for it and be ready for it because I'm going to work for it. And that's the whole faith without works is dead. If you have faith for something and hoping for something, the best way of getting it to you and getting it closer is to prepare for its arrival. And there's this whole aspect of we're sitting here waiting, but God can't make it move. Because if he dropped it into our lap without us being fully prepared for it, we would lose it. We would ruin it. We would, our chance would be gone.
It's like if you wish for a piece of cake or a cake, and you can wish all you want, but until you get up and start mixing those things into the bowl, and getting all the ingredients in the right order, mix it in a bowl and put it in the pan and preheating your oven and putting the pan in, and then drawn it out when it's done, then you've got cake.
Yeah.
You can't wish for it and
Without
then
the work.
without working for it, and it is there's a time when others can help you with these things, but there's a time when you need to stand up and do it on your own.
And part of the reason why I said petty, and I don't mean to be crude, I'd seen this TikTok of this guy who had been very suicidal and had struggled with major depression. And someone came up to him, and I'm not saying that depression is easy or that it's an easy thing to come out of or to knock out of your life or anything like that. I'm not saying that. But someone gave him a push that has now helped him beat it, and he had a lot of people that tore him down. Tore into him. His reason for depression wasn't that he was lonely, it was because he had people in his life that made him lonely, made him hurt, made him not value himself.
He lost hope.
Yep. And someone looked at him and said, be petty enough to live a better life than they do.
Yeah.
Outlive them. Even if and granted, that's not the right way of going around it. But you have to have something
tenacity.
You have to have something to push you.
Yeah.
And there was this, all of a sudden, he's just like, he's there. The look on them, it was be petty enough to prove them wrong.
Yeah.
And he just looked at them and he's like, if you're, and I know this is crude, but he's just like, be the one that's at their funeral instead of them being at yours.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a fact of putting them there or like, I'm not saying that in that way.
No.
It was more of be the better person in the end.
Yeah.
And even though what got that ball going was almost a greedy, petty, like, no, I'm going to prove you wrong. I'm going to outlive you. I'm going to live a healthy life. I'm going to prove to you that my life is worth something. I'm going to live to see you, outlive you,
Yeah.
and all this. And it was, I'm not going to give you the satisfaction of being at my funeral first.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a matter, and apparently, and from what I could see, he ended up making amends. He was able to forgive. He no longer has them in his life, granted, but he was able to forgive, and just now his motivation is completely healthy for good reasons. But there was this whole, like, sometimes you have to put a fight in something to be able to be like, no, I'm not going to let this win. I'm not going to let you win. No, I'm not going to let you win. And some fights, you have to give yourself something tangible to fight for, and when you're fighting yourself, you're not going to win.
When you have the tenacity to say no to the lost hope and yes to the hope, you're going to win every time.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that there's a lot of wars that you will fight to not see the other side of, but you have made the path for someone else. It made it possible for someone else to see it, whether it be your grandkids or something. Sometimes breaking generational curses are not easy, and sometimes you won't actually see the fruits of it, but you know that fruits will bear from all of uprooting all of that damage. And even though the tree's pruned and you won't see the fruit in your lifetime, you have just made it happen.
Right. There was one last thing. I heard on the radio yesterday, on Moody Radio, J.D. Greer, Summit Life, and he said, life is war, that's what prayer is for. And that sums it all up, I think.
Yeah, I would say so.
So,
we hope that you enjoyed this. I know it's a little different. I know it's a little shorter. We're just coming off of a really, really busy week. And we wanted to do something that was a little bit less
fun.
Kind of written for us instead of having to make it up for ourselves this time, if that makes sense.
And we'll have our projects next week.
Yep.
We're going to show you what we're working on, what we're getting done, and yeah, it's gonna be a good one.
So until next time, we ask you to stitch your way
to mental health.